everyone. My name is Ashe, and today we'll be doing our podcast submission. And in my group today is myself, we have Kyle and Jason. And today I'll be interviewing Dr. Matthew Betty, who is a professor here at Mount Allison University in the Computer Science and Math Department. Dr. Betty, welcome. And
thank you for having me.
Yeah, pleasure. So, just to begin, I just want you to just talk a little bit about yourself and why you became a professor here at Mount Allison.
Why I became a professor? Oh my goodness. I went to university. I did a couple of degrees in math. I did an undergrad degree in math and physics. Then I did a master's degree in math. And then I got out and then I started working I was working retail. I was selling shoes and it wasn't going well. So I went back to school and got my PhD because I realized I wasn't doing well selling shoes and I'd probably be better off doing research. So went back, started working research in like disease modeling, ecology and evolution, and eventually that led me here.
So tying into research, what led you to work with public health in the fight against COVID-19?
Oh, they asked me. So about a month after COVID started, maybe a week after everything went into lockdown, I got an email from the Director of Public Health of Canada asking if I wanted to do some modeling for them. I just said yes. It was easy.
So since you work in computer science, I assume you have to use like technology. So like what technology have you used to help in aid? Like did you have to do anything with modeling, things like that?
Yeah. So we use a lot of modeling. We build those models in Python. We use a lot of programming. We use a lot of the programming that you would have learned in first year computer science, a lot of the algorithms that you would learn if you take any upper year computer science. But yeah, the computation part is there to support the modeling. So we build models using mathematics, and then we analyze those models using computers.
So do those models show like general trends or?
Yeah, so we can use them to show all kinds of things. We use our models to either forecast forward on what things might look like in the next couple months. As far as COVID goes, we use it to estimate demand for hospital beds to see if our hospitals will be overrun. We can also use it to go backwards in time and try and figure out when COVID actually started here and how many people have been affected. Even if they haven't tested or been tested, we can estimate if they were infected with COVID.
So like, are you able to give like a number as to how much people have been infected?
Yeah.
Do you have a number offhand or?
Oh yeah, it's something like 60 to 70% of the population at this point.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot of people. Yeah.
Jeez. And this would be reported or not reported
combined. Yeah. Reported it's far less. Only about 10% of cases end up reported.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So has like how effective has public health utilized your models in their day-to-day operations?
It depends. It depends on the jurisdiction. Public health in Canada is not run at a federal level. It's run at a provincial level. So since my work informs the federal government, all we're able to do is suggest what the provincial government should do. Now, whether the provincial governments listen is entirely up to them. And so sometimes, early on when certain provinces and territories didn't have people to do modeling on hand, we would get kind of contracted out to support different provinces and territories. We supported notably PEI, Northwest Territories and Yukon, or who we worked with personally. And so they obviously used the kind of models that we built. But we also built models for places like New Brunswick, Ontario, and the governments in those places are a little less amenable to working in the interest of pure public health.
So, well, I'm just gonna ask you a final question. How, given the models, what would you have recommended differently to the government of New Brunswick in terms of lifting restrictions, would you have told them to keep the restrictions based on the numbers, or did the numbers support the decision they made?
The number one thing that they should have done is not reduced testing. So they changed the rules for testing and reporting long before they changed the rules for masking and isolation. By changing the way that they did testing and reporting, what they did was made the data harder to analyze. And so once they made that change, it became very difficult to figure out how many people were actually infected. So when they made that change, they kind of stifled the research to the point where if they reopen, nobody could really say anything against it because nobody had proper numbers anymore. So the problem started way before the reopening. But if New Brunswick's anything like Ontario, Ontario hospitals are now flooded again. And even here, we're kind of, I think the last time I checked, we're at 92% capacity of our hospitals. And New Brunswick hospitals are not great to begin with. So that's really damaging to the healthcare system. So yeah, it should have been a slower, more gradual process, but a lot of these governments are looking to get reelected. Big places like Ontario, Alberta, they have elections coming up, and so they're working like that. We're working with that in mind. And New Brunswick, even though they have a majority government, they are just following suit because they don't want another tourist season to be affected by COVID.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for all that information, Dr. Bedi. I really appreciate it.
No problem.
And thank you guys, and we'll see you next week.